Hello, I'm Hallie Tutt. I'm an artist that specializes in video and VFX, 3D, and things of that nature. And today I'm going to talk about some of my tips for messaging someone and actually getting a response. I have a lot of experience with this because I get a whole lot of DMs and emails, and there's definitely certain things I look for when I think if it's worth my time to have a conversation with this person, or even give just a kind message back, but not necessarily engage further. A lot of messages I just completely ignore because you can tell that the effort just isn't there, or like they're reaching out to a lot of people and you don't want to get completely ignored. I'm going to talk about my tips for that while I also drink today's drink of the day, a banana milk to go. This is a favorite of me and my brother. And here in Canada, you also have the French version, Le Go. So yeah, it's great. I love banana flavored things, and milk is a great thing to be banana flavored. So, tip 1, do your research. Go and actually look all the way down, go through their Instagram, go through their YouTube, or wherever the person that you're trying to contact main platform. Do as much research on it, go through all their posts. Try and find like little details that are very personal that if you brought up in your first message, that they would feel touched, or at least feel like you're taking them seriously, that you really know who this person is that you're trying to message. Because potentially when you're first reaching out to someone, maybe you're reaching out based on a single post that you saw recently, and if you even just took 5 minutes to go down and look at some of their older work, maybe the question that you were going to ask them, or maybe whatever it is, maybe you will look stupid because the answer was right there. Like, for example, a lot of agents reach out to me and they kind of tell me, oh, you could be making so much more money if you did sponsored posts. And in reality, I already do have management, and I do sponsored posts on TikTok and Instagram, and with a very quick little check on my page, you could figure that out. It's an immediate indicator to me that this person does not care about my time enough to look into who I am. They're just reaching out to hundreds of people. So obviously I'm not going to even engage with that person because they didn't engage with me at all. So as you're doing your research, try and figure out something that in that first message that you message to the person, bring up something very specific. Like, comment. Don't just say, hey, I love your work. Maybe say, hey, I love that video you did with the banana. Maybe say like you admired the storytelling element in the video that you did with the banana. It reminds you of this other thing. Something of that nature, where you've created a very thoughtful response. And that goes into my second tip, which is when you make that first message, never introduce yourself first. Don't start the message off talking all about you and then go, hey, I love your work and I want to work with you. You gotta go the other way. Like I said, you start with something that's talking all about them and how much you admire them, but not over the top either. Very thoughtful and researched comment of admiration, and then go into who you are and why they should care. And that's where we go into tip 3, which is really explain who you are and what you do. Ideally have a link to your portfolio or to your work or to whatever you do. And if you don't want to provide a link, at least give your full name with some kind of very clear indicator if they wanted to go do their own research, that they could figure out who you actually are. I get so many messages and emails where it's even a business opportunity, or like they're a clothing manufacturer and they want to work with me to make t-shirts, and they're trying to pitch that concept, and they don't even give me a link or a website, like to their website or their full name, so I can kind of do my own research to figure out if they're legit. They just sign off with, I'd love to work with you, Sam. And I don't have any idea how legitimate they are, because like they just told me that they manufacture clothes. They didn't give me any way to kind of look into them more, which immediately to me seems like a red flag. It's more so if you were trying to say, hey, I want to collaborate with you in some capacity, or you're a musician, for example, and you want them to do visuals or something of that nature, you gotta be able to show your music. And if you don't think your music is good enough to show, then that's the issue right there. And then that comes into the final tip, which is if you don't actually have any specific reason that you're messaging them, like you don't want to collaborate, you don't want them, like, you don't want to work with them, or like you don't want any of that, like you don't have a very specific ask, but you still want to connect with them, and you still want to kind of have some kind of conversation, and potentially down the line you have that connection when something does come up that you can ask them to work with you on. Then that comes back to, with that research that you did, that initial research, think of a question you can ask them, or ask them to give you advice on a very, very specific topic that you know they will know a lot about. And this doesn't even have to be something that you're actually interested in. Like, ideally you're interested in it because you're interested in this person, but it could even just be something completely made up. Like, you could make up a story of why you need information on this one thing and then get them to give you some background on it. Like, the only example I can give is when I was in high school, there was this boy I had a crush on, but he was a grade older, and he was only in my gym class, and I didn't really know him personally. I just knew like some of his friends. But I wanted to reach out to him, and I was too shy to do it in person. Gen Z. So I found his Facebook and I messaged him on there, but to try and figure out a way to message him, I knew he played guitar, so I figured out a way to kind of say like my brother was gonna buy a guitar, or what's like a good beginner guitar, because I knew he played guitar. And that was kind of my way in to have a conversation with him that seemed like it wasn't just completely out of nowhere. It was as if I was just trying to get more information on guitars, and he was someone I knew who played guitar. And it makes it a lot more natural, and it also shows that you do know something personal about them. That can be a way to just strike up some kind of conversation that at least then you're in the door. Alright, well, that's probably it for today. Those are my 4 tips. Thank you so much for tuning in to day 6 of me trying to get better at talking to a camera.